talking about what if Civ 5, but it was actual real history. So, unlike in real history where we're start of like a couple civilizations here, we'll be using the Civ 5 civilizations. So basically, we'll be going by continent and seeing what's happening. First, we're gonna start with Europe. So Portugal will expand a little bit over here. It'll take them a couple hundred years to create the first settlers, but they'll start to settle beyond the capital. We're starting with Portugal was the first country to discover settlers, and they basically create the first settlers and move for the east towards Spain. Morocco becomes the second country. They don't have boats yet, so they can't go up here. But Morocco can continue to settle this little area here, and create basically It's basically like an empire up here. Carthage will start to expand further this way as well here. Spain gets its first settlers, and they basically meet with Portugal. It means the first two countries to border each other. No, they're not planning on war yet, but there might be a war between both of them. We have England. England will start to expand this way and start to take a lot of the islands. The problem with England is that England is kind of stuck here with the Celts. The Celts, I could have made the Celts start on Ireland, but the true start located always puts them in Scotland as well. The Celts are kind of like an underrated civilization because no one really talks about them, but they do start to expand further south here, and they basically occupy all Scotland. Basically, the Celts of Scotland. Denmark, they don't really have boats yet, as we have not really reached the era of boats yet, so they have to expand south here. France also starts to expand here, starting to create the Big Blue Blob that is notorious for all strategy games. Next are the Dutch, and the Dutch will... Oh, that's too big. That's still too big. The Dutch will start to expand its, further south here, and they will start to basically go further south right here. And yeah, the capital city is like the very first city they create here. Now it's Germany. So Germany is a wild card right here. Germany always gets defeated in the AI scenarios that certain YouTubers used to put up, but Germany starts to expand as well. Well, also gonna make Germany's capital bigger. Same thing with Denmark, so it looks like they have a capital. Same thing with UK and France. As well, Venice can't really expand since there's no city-states. Austria will expand further south and also further this way. Rome will start to expand as well. They meet Venice as well. And yeah, basically if you're rooting for Venice, well, Venice was still keeping the one straight. Rome starts to basically take all of Italy as well. And the first civs start to establish diplomats with each other. So the first borders are formed with Germany and Denmark, as well as Spain and Portugal and Venice and Rome. Poland, which is right around here, starts to expand further south. Here, Poland does not border anyone at this current moment, so Poland is basically becoming a big blob. Sweden starts to expand north here. They realize it's a bit too cold, and they start to expand south. Then it's Russia. Russia starts to expand towards the north and starts to expand towards Ukraine, their favorite country in the world. The Huns start to expand their land here. They also start to basically take this area right here. They do not take Crimea here, but they do take this little area here. Also gonna make the Huns capital. Okay, not that. No, not that big. How about 2? So it looks more like so you can actually see it a bit more. Now I could do the Byzantines, because the Byzantines don't really have a very good start. They don't really have a lot of land, but they do have that really good fortified city. The Byzantines will expand further this way, here, and further here. Here. Also, Greece will start to expand. They will basically get all of here, basically creating a mini Greek empire. The Ottomans will start to expand. Also, the first pantheons are formed. Also, the Ottomans get sea access now. Now it's Assyria. Assyria is like one of the first civilizations, and they're kind of a very aggressive civilization. Babylon is kind of going to be like tall civilization. They're going to expand a little bit as well. And Persia is going to expand this way, as they naturally did in real life. There's no civilizations over here, so Mongolia is going to be pretty scary. And the Huns in Russia. India is the only civ over here, so India will start to expand further south into more of the fertile plains area here. Next is Thailand. No, not Thailand. Next is Burma. No, not Burma. Siam. Yeah, I got the country right this time. They expand, and they get a lot of land out of this. Indonesia. They don't have any boats right now, but Indonesia is going to expand as well. And the problem is Indonesia can only really expand so far, but they expand more into the Sumatra island as well. But they also expand more into Java, completing that area right there. Now let's get into Asia. China didn't really starve a lot of land. They didn't really give China a lot of land, but China expands pretty quickly as well here, and they basically annex all surrounding areas. Korea basically just takes over most of the Korean peninsula, which is what they usually do. And also the capital will be seen better. Now it's Japan. So Japan will be using this red for Japan. Japan will basically expand up here. And now Japan basically is... It looks like actual Japanese flag in the Japan... But yeah, Japan is going to continue to expand into more of the land. Of course we have, Zulu, the master of pain. Saka Zulu is going to continue to expand, obviously. He's going to, take a lot of land in South Africa. Mostly like useless land, but he'll continue to expand. Ethiopia, a very tall civilization. But again, there's a lot of available land because there's not many African civs. So, yeah. Songhai, I think I put them in the wrong place. I think they're more like up here. But they're going to expand more into the more fertile Nigeria, as that's like more useful land. Egypt will continue to expand down the Nile River as well. So yeah, that's Egypt. Arabia, we actually almost forgot about Arabia, will start to expand into the desert here, and they will basically take a lot of this land here. Brazil, which is one of the few civilizations in the Americas, because they will basically become bigger, and yeah, Brazil will become bigger. Brazil has not met another civilization yet, so Brazil doesn't know there's any other countries out there. The Incas will also expand. They'll basically expand into more of the mountains here. They'll expand north, so they'll expand over here. The Mayans will expand and take over the whole Yucatan Peninsula right here. And the Aztecs in the first expansion will take most of the Central America right here. Now it's the USA. So the USA, I think, will want to expand to get the New York area locked down, but that will put them in a lot of conflict with the Iroquois, which occupy northern New York. But the Iroquois want to take the Great Lakes, which I think is much more which is also pretty valuable. So they take this lake right here. Here, I'm not really familiar. I know this is Lake Michigan, but I don't remember the other lake names. I know one of them's Lake Ontario, but yeah, and one of them's Lake Erie as well. I think one of them's called Lake Huron, but yeah, we also have the Sony, which is gonna expand into mostly more of the Rocky Mountains like this. Mongolia, will also expand. We do not want to forget about Mongolia as well. So Mongolia also expanded as well. So that is like the first expansions in the world. So we're gonna go even more expansions. So Portugal in the second expansion takes up the northern part of Iberia. Meanwhile, Spain takes up the southern part of Iberia. Basically filling up the peninsula already. France, and it takes a lot of here. England, and takes here, which puts the first real conflict between the Celts and England. Basically, it's going to be modern day England and modern day Scotland. But this might be the actual first war of the entire series. The Netherlands will expand further here. Denmark gets boats, so they basically start to expand into up here. It's going to put them into conflict with Sweden, and of course Germany, which they already border. Germany will expand right here. Here. Also, Austria, which is kind of stuck. They're going to basically become like a massive blob here. And that's Austria. Rome will conquer southern Italy and basically form Italy. They see there might be a war between Rome and Venice in the future as well. Also, Poland will expand further north into the Baltic area here, and we have Big Poland. Also, Sweden's going to continue to expand this way, wrap around into Finland, and that's going to be a big area they own. Russia is going to expand towards the ocean here, basically blobbing out that way. Crimea will be taken by the Huns. The Huns will also expand into Eastern Europe, which marks their first actual expansion into Europe. Next is Greece and Byzantium. Greece will expand for the north as well. Also, Byzantium will expand this way further up, and will also expand down here. The Ottomans will expand over here and basically touch Byzantium for the first time, which may be their mortal enemies. Assyria gets to the sea for the first time, and they occupy a lot of Lebanon and Syria. They take a lot of this land here, but the capital is pretty well open. Next is Babylon, which they expand this way. Also, at this time, I think Babylon is the most populated civilization, but that will probably change in the future. Persia starts to expand further south to basically continue to create modern day Persia. Arabia expands into Yemen, which is a lot of land here. They just take over all of Yemen. Ethiopia expands into modern day Somalia, which gives them a coastline. Same thing with Shanghai. They're going to expand into the coastal regions of Nigeria, basically giving them an ability soon to create boats. Morocco will expand into the desert here, mostly sticking to the coast here, but Morocco will basically expand into the unpopulated desert as well. Also, Carthage will expand, creating this little country up here, and Egypt will make a very risky move of expanding into the Middle East. India will expand northward, as there's a very large fertile area up here that they could definitely use for farming, which makes India even bigger. And of course, we have everyone's favorite Zulus. the Zulus. Yeah. Yeah, this is like a very dark red. The Zulus start to march throughout the continent and start to expand further north. Next is, of course, Siam. And they basically expand into Cambodia and even Vietnam. Yeah, Indonesia basically just takes over the rest of Java. And they also take over the rest of Sumatra. I forgot about one civil. I forgot about Polynesia just takes over a bunch of these islands in the first expansion. Their settlers finally reach down here. They start to colonize Vanuatu, these little islands here. And they also start to colonize these islands over here. And these islands over here. Here. Basically, they're the least populated civilization, but they're about to discover Papua New Guinea, which will be a game changer for Polynesia. So, which is what they do in their second turn. They discover Papua New Guinea, which is an actual real landmass, and basically they set up their first settlements in Papua New Guinea. Then we have China expanding further south. South here, we have Mongolia, expanding further into the steppes. Not really meeting anyone besides China. That's the only civilization they know exists. It's China. They also probably do meet scouts from Korea, so they do meet Korea. But there was no reason to go war for them against them because they don't border each other yet. Next is Japan, which starts to expand this way and this way. Now it's the American civilizations. We can't forget about the American civilizations. And Brazil expands further north here. And the Incas expand further into the Andes Mountains. And also discover the Amazon rainforest. Now, will they cut down the rainforest or will they be generous? Next is the Aztecs, and they continue to expand throughout modern-day Mexico. And also the Mayans and the Aztecs do border each other. Now, the Mayans do have boats, so they can expand outside of their reigns. But this will be a very big tension as the Aztecs have a bigger army because they're a much more militaristic country than the Mayans. Here. Then we have the Susoni, where it's just... They like Brazil and Incas, they don't know anyone else, and they expand for the north. The Iroquois continue to expand into modern-day Canada, and even find Michigan as well. Yeah, they expand now. The USA continues to expand along the East Coast, and they discover Massachusetts and those areas. The USA. Basically, the capital isn't really well protected, which might be a problem in the future, but the only enemy at this current moment would be the Uruguay, and they're still pretty chill as they don't border each other and are not going against each other's interests. And that is the road, and the second settlement, they're going to go through this third settlement. This will be pretty problem, as this will start a war between England and the Celts. England puts the border here, starts to fight with the Celts, to take out various settlements of the Celts. This causes England to push the border a little bit, but the armies, are not that big at the time, so nothing really changes, and England is kind of upset. But again, England will have the population advantage as they're in a much more hospitable climate. Portugal will expand this way, as well as Spain will take out all of here, and basically create a race against France, which France just cuts them off. Yeah, very nice of you, France. You just cut off Portugal and Spain. Then we have the Netherlands, which will continue to expand inland here. And Rome will annex all of this land here. Austria, which will basically mean that Central Europe is filled in here, and also Germany will annex all of this, and start to move towards where Poland is. Denmark will continue to move into Scandinavia, which will kind of make Sweden unhappy, and Sweden will try to continue to expand this way to prevent Denmark from gaining any more land. Next is Poland, which Poland expands further into the Baltic states. And Greece will also further move up. Venice is kind of screwed as they can't really create settlers like in the real life game, or like in the game as well. And also, so Byzantium continues to expand this way. The Ottomans continue to expand this way. They annex this area, and they annex this little area here, basically creating almost modern-day Turkey as well. The Huns continue to actually expand this way into, I think this is like Circassia, and also the Caucasus area, but they expand into that area as well. Also, Russia expands this way, creating the massive Russian Empire. Assyria doesn't know where to go, as Egypt basically blocked them. So Assyria basically, they don't really have anywhere to go. Same thing with Babylon. Babylon expands this way, here, but this is going to make Persia obviously pretty angry as well, here. And Persia expands this way, here, but they're really upset that Babylon kind of blocked them off. But they still can expand this way, which could be pretty good for Persia, as most of this land. But again, most of this land over here is very useless at this very moment. Arabia, which again is just going to continue colonizing the Arabian Peninsula, will continue to do so and colonize the actual useful portions. Ethiopia will start to go into actual mainland Africa and expand. Zulus will continue to expand further up these waterways and basically annex this little area. The Songhai will go into modern-day Gabon and Cameroon, and Morocco will start to go south here and avoid the desert here, going into modern-day Senegal and those areas right there. Carthage will expand alongside Libya, but they may need to go into the desert pretty soon, as basically they're running out of space to settle. Egypt can't really go anywhere, but Egypt still has all of Africa. So Egypt basically annexes all of this land here. Now let's get into the Asian civilizations. India starts to expand towards the Bengal area. The Asian civilizations are getting pretty big. This might be a pretty big problem because, of course, these are the countries that will have probably the most population for the foreseeable future, as China and India are now the most populated countries in the world. Korea starts to expand outside of the Korean peninsula, as well, and Japan colonizes the rest of the islands, and also colonizes Hokkaido and this island up here. Mongolia also continues to colonize a lot more of the steppe area. Also meets Japan for the first time, as Japan finally gets boats as well. Polynesia discovers Australia. They colonize this little portion of Papua New Guinea and Australia, but they also discover the Americas. They become the first civilization to have contact with the Americas, and they colonize this little area right here. The Sassoni meets the first other civilization, so they also meet the Aztecs as well. But the Sassoni meets of course, the Polynesians. The Aztecs continue to move their way up Mexico, as well as the Mayans continue to move their way south and go and take over a lot of modern-day Nicaragua, Honduras, and Guatemala, and even parts of Mexico. Then there's, of course, the Incas. Nothing really changes in South America. The Incans and Brazilians do know of their existence, however. They know of each other's existence, and nothing is just business as usual. Well, in South America. Brazil continues to expand, and also Europe is practically filled out. As well, this won't be a very long series. As well, the USA will expand to the south and expand and take a while. This will make the Incas, Uruguay, pretty angry as they take over parts of Ohio and Michigan and in Indiana. As well, which causes a rift between both civilizations as they create the first official border as well. Yeah. So that is it for part 1. I still decided not to really make anyone fight each other besides England and the Celts because I still want it to be anyone's game. Yes, even the Celts. Also, the Celts discover boats and they start to colonize Ireland as well, which will be pretty useful. As England also discovers boats and starts to sneakily colonize parts of Scandinavia. So England and the Celts, and of course Japan, still have a chance. As Japan has discovered boats, Indonesia has discovered boats as well. We're not going to make it. Indonesia does nothing the whole time. Indonesia will take over parts of Borneo, as well as they are an island civilization, and they start to colonize these little islands over here. Here. So yeah. I think, it's anybody but Venice's game. Venice is screwed. But anyone can still win. I still think it's a possibility. And the real story, all the wars, will begin next episode between civilizations. So yeah, basically pick your country as well. But yeah, that's about this video here. Goodbye.